So for the weeks there has been in sport, there's been dominating attention on our cricketers, all for the wrong reasons, is over the cricketing ball tampering saga. Now there is, I guess this is being put to good use. Ball tampering might be a good idea. Let's have a look. Very cheeky indeed, but that could be the silver lining to a pretty awful chapter in cricketing history in this nation. Let's bring in Bettina Ardent. She joins me here in the studio. Who thought of this? Are you going to claim?
Oh, I thought of it. I was watching this men's crutches for a whole week, and I thought we have to do something about this.
It was played over and over again. It was really the
and men playing with their balls. I mean, it was just such a focus. And then I suddenly realised I'd promised to do a video on Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, which is now, which is April. And this was just perfect, a means of highlighting the fact that men should ball tamper more often.
Have you had much reaction to this? I know it's only just been launched, but perhaps the cricketers even see the funny side to this.
Oh, well, I hope so. I might cheer them up to think that this horrible period in their personal lives could lead to something good, because it really would be something good if we could get men to think about this more often. I mean, it's a tragedy that we have this really rare cancer, testicular cancer, and yet it ends up the second highest cancer killer of young men, because we never talk about it. We don't encourage men to self-examine. You know, a lot of men, when they discover a lump or think there's something funny happening, they don't tell anybody about it, they don't do anything about it. And lots of young men die because of that, and it's tragic.
Yeah, there seems to be a huge focus on women's health in particular. We often talk about breast cancer, and there's been so much good that's been done. There's been so much money raised, I might say, through cricket as well, through the Pink tests as well. But
we didn't used to talk about self-examination of the breast. We thought that was shocking to show that on television. Now you see it all the time. The breast cancer groups have done a really good job saying this is part of women looking after their health. And the same has to apply to men looking after their testicles. They need to take notice of them. I mean, their partners can take notice of them too and keep an eye on them. And there's all sorts of ways of doing this. We have to talk to our sons about, you know, keeping an eye on this part of their bodies and going to see somebody if something, you know, it turns out looks a bit different, feels a bit different.
At the risk of getting too raunchy for a 3 p.m. time slot, I will ask you, as you rightly point out, there was a stigma attached to broadcasting this idea of self-examination when it came to detecting breast cancer. And I feel like such progress has been made in that area, but the aim here is to break down that stigma.
And it's much harder to get men to talk about these things. You know, you talk to mothers are talking to their kids about sex education. Lots of people say, oh, Mum did a terrific job. I say, well, what about Dad? Oh, no, Dad never talked. And if Dad never talks about sex to his sons, it passes on this message that you don't talk about private sexual things to anybody. And this is partly why men are dying, because they don't feel okay to go to a doctor and discuss this sort of stuff.
Okay, how widely are you going to push this ad?
Oh, well, we've been blitzing all the sporting organisations, the rugby, and I don't know how many of them are taking any notice, but I hope they are. So everybody have a look. I've got this on my YouTube channel and on my website, and it's all there for all the sportsmen of Australia to send out to their groups and organisations.
Well, fancy two women sitting here and talking about this day. I hope all the men out there aren't offended. Surely not. They can take the lead.
No, lots of men have been writing to me saying it's a really good idea. So that's great.
I hope so. Thanks so much for your time, Bettina, and good luck with it.